Okay, think about this for a second. You're standing there, eve of a massive battle. Everything's on the line, right? Your life, maybe the whole empire, and the fear. You can practically taste it. Then your commander steps up. And somehow, just with words, they turn that fear into resolve. Or they stop a mutiny cold. How did that even work? It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
It really is. The power of words in those moments is incredible.
Welcome to this deep dive. We're going to pull back the curtain today on something really fascinating from history. Roman battle oratory. Okay. Specifically, a practice known as the adlūctio.
That's right.
We're working from a historical study called The Speech That Won Roman Battles. And our goal here is to dig into this. Yeah. We want to show you how these speeches were, well, way more than just boosting morale.
Oh, absolutely. Much more.
They were tactical command tools, psychological weapons, even propaganda instruments, things that genuinely reshaped armies and propped up imperial power.
Yep, all of the above.
So, get ready. We're going to unpack how communication, powerful communication, shaped history, sometimes in pretty complex and surprising ways.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start right there. This adlūctio. It sounds important, clearly, but what exactly was it? Was it just any speech before a fight?
No, not just any speech. It was quite specific. The adlūctio was the formal address given by a Roman general or later, an emperor directly to his troops.
Formal address, okay.
And typically right before a major engagement. It was a really core function of command.
So why? What was the point?
Well, its main purposes were pretty profound, actually. First, it symbolized the leader's authority, like unmistakably.
Right, reinforcing who's in charge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also worked to seriously strengthen the soldier's loyalty. You can think of it as this public confirmation of the leader's power, yes, but also, crucially, reaffirming the army's connection to Rome itself.
That connection to Rome, that makes sense.
Yeah, very important. So it wasn't just ceremonial fluff. These speeches were critical, tactical moments. They were designed to get the troops aligned, focused on the mission.
So genuinely strategic then, not just pageantry.
Precisely. They really could turn the tide. Take a situation where maybe defeat seemed possible or confidence was shaky and just flip it, turn it into battle readiness.
Wow.
So yeah, it functioned as a ceremonial tool, sure, but just as much as a psychological weapon. And like you said, a propaganda instrument too, all wrapped up in one address.
That's fascinating, the multi-layered aspect of it. But okay, talk is one thing. How did this actually play out? Do we have solid examples where you can see this speech making a real difference?
Oh, absolutely. History gives us some great ones. Probably one of the most famous involves Julius Caesar.
Ah, Caesar, of course.
Yeah. And his renowned 10th Legion. This was during the Gallic campaigns. Picture this. His troops are facing just overwhelming numbers, a Germanic enemy. And there's serious doubt creeping in, fear even.
Okay, not good before battle.
Not good at all. So Caesar steps up, and he gives this incredibly bold, very personal speech. He basically says, look, if the rest of you are scared, fine. Go home. I'll fight with just the 10th Legion. Me and them, we'll do it alone.
Whoa, that's risky. Putting it all on the line like that, what happened?
The impact was immediate and powerful. Just this show of defiance, this personal commitment, maybe even a bit theatrical, but still. It shamed the other legions.
Shamed them.
Yeah, and it galvanized them. Suddenly they were united again, all that hesitation, gone. It just shows how a leader putting themselves out there, rhetorically at least, can trigger this huge collective response.
Yeah, but it also sounds, well, kind of manipulative, doesn't it? Like less pure inspiration and more like sharp psychological leverage.
That's a really good point.
Caesar wasn't just commanding there, he was playing them, wasn't he? Offering up patriotism, bravery, conquest, using those as the emotional payment for fighting.
That frames it very well. It definitely highlights that dual nature we were talking about. It's inspiration, yes, but strategically deployed.
Okay, so that's handling pre-battle jitters. What about a situation that's already gone bad, like outright rebellion? Could a speech fix a mutiny?
Well, for that, we look at General Germanicus.
Germanicus, okay.
So after Emperor Augustus died, there was major unrest in the legions, a really volatile situation. We're talking soldiers openly threatening Germanicus. And not just him, his family, too. His wife, Agrippina, their young son, Caligula.
Wow, that's serious, threatening the family.
Extremely serious. It was right on the edge. So Germanicus's response wasn't threats back at them. Instead, he went for this powerful, raw, emotional appeal.
How so?
He begged them, pleaded with them to spare his family, and then he pivoted, invoking their loyalty, their duty, not just to him, but to Rome. The historian Tacitus, he writes about this.
Tacitus recorded it.
Yeah, and he describes Germanicus actually breaking down in tears, and apparently that raw emotion, it just cut through. It moved the soldiers so deeply they abandoned the mutiny. Order was restored.
Just like that, from tears and an appeal.
According to Tacitus, yes. It's a stark example of how powerful that direct emotional connection, that vulnerability even, could be, how it could completely diffuse even the most dangerous situations. Emotional influence was absolutely critical.
Incredible. So these speeches, they clearly had immense power in the moment. But you mentioned propaganda. Were they just heard and then kind of faded away? Or did the Romans find ways to make them last?
That's another fascinating layer. They absolutely did make them last. These moments, these speeches, were actively immortalized, especially once the empire was established.
Through writings.
Writings, yes, but also very visually in Roman art. You see emperors, think Trajan, Augustus, depicted over and over again, shown delivering these addresses to their troops.
Like on coins or statues.
Coins, statues, reliefs, monuments, yeah. And this wasn't just, hey, remember that cool speech. No, it was about reinforcing their legitimacy, their leadership, even their connection to the divine often. It was a visual reminder of their authority.
And the classic example here has to be Trajan's column, right? I mean, it's covered in scenes.
Exactly. Trajan's column is probably the best example. It shows Trajan addressing his army repeatedly, sequence after sequence. It really drills home this image of the leader communicating with his men.
So those are like snapshots of actual speeches.
Well, here's the thing. Probably not literal snapshots. It's better to think of them as maybe political theater in stone.
Political theater?
Yeah. The goal wasn't necessarily historical accuracy like a photograph. It was about projecting an idea. The idea that Rome's leaders were chosen, were effective, were connected to the gods, and commanded loyal armies. It was crafting a narrative for everyone to see.
Right, shaping the public memory and perception. Makes sense. Okay, so these speeches wielded immense power in the moment and later as propaganda, which brings up a question. Were these generals just, brilliant communicators using their skills for Rome, or was there maybe a darker side to it, a more manipulative angle?
That's a really crucial question, and the answer is it's complicated. Roman generals, especially the upper-class ones, were typically trained in rhetoric, like high-level stuff.
Right, they learned how to persuade.
Exactly. They mastered the techniques, pathos hitting the emotions, ethos establishing their own credibility, their character, logos using logic and reason. They knew how to move an audience.
They were skilled.
Highly skilled. But that dual nature we keep mentioning, it's definitely here. While they often use noble language talking about honor, duty, saving Rome, these speeches frequently masked, well, let's just say self-serving agendas. A general might use the powerful ideal of saving Rome as cover for his own political ambitions or, military glory seeking.
Using patriotism for personal gain.
It certainly happened. And there's often this stark contrast, too. You have the soldiers facing death head-on in the front lines, while the leader who gave the inspiring speech, often they stayed safely behind, removed from the direct danger. It really underscores how the adlūctio could be genuinely inspirational on one level, but also potentially quite exploitative on another.
That's a sobering thought. So looking back at all this deep dive into Roman battle oratory, what are the big takeaways? What can we learn from the adlūctio today?
I think the adlūctio serves as this really profound case study. It shows us so much about emotional influence, about psychological warfare, about political optics, even back then.
Okay.
The broader lessons. Well, it teaches us how deeply language can shape loyalty, how charisma, effectively deployed, can sometimes override even intense fear.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, how strategic communication works to control a collective mindset, especially in times of crisis or danger. These moments, these speeches, they really are a masterclass in leadership.
A masterclass.
Yeah, but one that shows both sides. The truly inspirational side, definitely, but also the potentially manipulative, even exploitative side of classical oratory. It's all in there.
So we've just explored how a single speech, delivered at the right moment, could literally turn the tide of a battle or stop a mutiny, maybe even help establish an emperor's divine right to rule. The adlūctio. It really wasn't just about words, was it?
Not at all. Power, psychology, persuasion.
Exactly. And this whole deep dive, it just reveals the incredible power of language, its capacity to inspire, yes, but also sometimes to manipulate subtly, or maybe not so subtly. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? About powerful speeches we hear even today. What are the hidden intentions, maybe? What does this ancient Roman practice tell us about effective leadership and potentially manipulative communication in our own time? Something to think about.